we'll finish chapter 13, and then, as I promised, and I will be working on quiz 5 and the midterm. And as the time goes, I will revisit all those quizzes by my own, not the publisher. Anyway, there are two types of nuclear. We were working about this chapter. This chapter is about energy here itself, the sources of energies we are looking at. And one of those sources of energies is nuclear. So the nuclear, we have two reactions. Here, give you one type of reaction called fission reaction. A fission reaction is bombardment of radioactive isotope of an element. Most of the time is uranium or plutonium, and by neutrons. So when you have a neutron, you bombard. Let me just here show you what's happening. Yeah, again, this is nuclear chemistry. You are not to worry about this. Nobody will ask you about this. But at least here's the uranium 235. The uranium has 238 and 235 isotopes, radioactive. The 235 is used for this type of fission. Fission that's another one. That's the first one, nuclear reaction, and you'll go for the second one. The fission is you're bombarding the radioactive element with neutrons. So with the neutrons, so you put neutrons here, and then you bombard this one here. By doing this, you chop the radioactive element into more than 2 or 3 components. Those components here, you will produce krypton and use barium, and you produce 3 neutrons. And those are there, and you produce in the process tremendous amount of what? Energy. And this energy here is utilized for electricity. That's the way we can use it. Now, can we make out of this nuclear bomb? Yes. You have to have a critical mass. So you take those 3 neutrons, and then will come cascade. You come and hit this neutron, this radioactive, again and again and again, until you reach the critical mass, which then you are in this stage of producing a nuclear bomb. But we are interested in the producing electrical energy. Okay, correct? That's the energy here. We are producing huge amount of energy. However, this method, the fission method, is not good for the environment. Somebody will tell me why. Why is this type of nuclear, and this is really happening in all the nuclear power plants. That's the reaction here. Why it's not very good? I mean, when you compare with the wind energy, when you compare with the waterfall energy, when you compare with a sun energy, UV, from the UV radiation, this is by far is the worst. Why? Somebody will tell me? Why is nuclear energy is the worst by far? Maybe I will not put it in a quiz, but that's for ourselves. And that will come in the next slide. Why? Well, I told you have krypton and barium, correct? Out of this. Now, if the reaction is coming, you are bringing another elements there. And this, we call it nuclear waste. Did you hear about nuclear waste? Those very highly radioactive, and in order to transfer them into harmless radioactive elements, you have they have to decay according to half-life time until they decay to their last stages, which is lead, then will be harmless. But then the fission, the disadvantage of this fission method, by bombarding a radioactive element and getting energy out of it, is how to deal with the nuclear waste coming out of this reaction. Okay, the second one, you generate a lot of energy here, and you have to have the weight to maintain this energy. So in the sense, you'll have a lot of heat, so you will see those type of reaction. They have a big tap water as a coolant. The cooling towers. Each nuclear plant will have to have coolant tap water as a coolant, and this big tower. Now in Chernobyl, one of the mishap was there. That's one of those nuclear plant coolant, tap water coolant, malfunction, and then the heat is generated from the nuclear reaction. The energy here. You have to cool the reactors. Otherwise, if they are not cooled down, the whole thing will be molten. And that's what get the mishap. The whole reactors with all the waste, nuclear waste, with all the junky stuff inside, radioactive material, explode and ended up in the soil. Now, in Ukraine, this area of Chernobyl area until now, that was in the 90s, over 40 years. Nobody can live there until all those elements inside decayed to decay to the last stages of their decay. So then you can use that land. That land is radiated with a lot of radiation, and because of their we don't know what they have inside the reactor site, whatever the nuclear elements, radioactive elements, and it takes 200, 300 years, depending what they have used. We don't know what they have used. So until now, nobody can build any housing, no agriculture can be done there, and all the stuff. I mean, animals cannot live there, humans cannot be living there, nothing. And the soil is highly radiated, so you have to wait until all those elements, radioactive elements, are decayed. The second one, which is the most cleaner one, but is not utilized on the Earth, it's utilized in the sun. You get the isotopes radioactive of here it is, of the of hydrogen, that's deuterium. You can have two deuterium hydrogen isotope coming out to build to make the alpha radiation, or to make the helium, another isotope, correct? This is an alpha radiation or isotope, and then it will bring you a lot of what? A lot of energy here. Now, you can tell helium is in the air to begin with. Isotope helium, this He4 atomic mass and 2 atomic number is there in nature to begin with. Do we have any waste, nuclear waste? No. And that's what happened in the sun. Hydrogen radioactive isotope will come and combine. This one here called fusion. Fusion means no splitting, combination, combining. And this vision is splitting or decomposing or splitting. So that's the difference between this. This, if we can get this one here on the Earth, that will be very useful. We cannot get this reaction running on the Earth because those are technology not there yet, because this happening at higher elevation, by which all the metals we know on this Earth will be molten. So about 20,000 centigrade Celsius. And the highest element that we know is bismuth, has about 4,000 centigrade Celsius. So if you put a reactor from bismuth for this reaction, it will be molten. It will not survive. So again, what's the problem with this nuclear splitting, nuclear fission? Here it is. Can I take this one out? Take it out and then look at what we are having. That's here says. One of the problem is the nuclear waste. Now you can put the nuclear on those barrels and then dump those barrels deep inside the ground. with the hope that you calculate for earthquakes and everything, but sometimes most of the time you might get into a big, huge problem or problems that there is an earthquake and then one of those barrels is leaking, and all those isotopes are going to the tower inside the ground. So when it does happen, then it's very dangerous because all the rivers at that neighborhood and ponds will be contaminated with a lot of nuclear waste, which is very, very hard to get out. It is, but it's very, very hard. Costs you a lot of money to clean up rivers or ponds radiated with a lot of radioactive elements. So that's one of the major thing compared with the wind energy. This is very clean. Even solar energy, although the batteries from the solar energy to store the energy, sometimes it's a problem, but still compared with the hazardous from all those type of energy, by far nuclear energy is the most dangerous type of energy we are dealing with, because all the time this where to put those nuclear waste. So in Europe, when I was in Germany, people are demonstrating. They don't want those in their neighborhood, in their areas. So they put themselves in front of the trains that's carrying those big barrels there with the nuclear waste. So there's a lot of debate, environmentally, politically, socially, about where to put those. Now, in some instances, some countries, they put them deep inside the ocean. And that's not good. We have earthquake on the earth. We have earthquake in what? In the oceans, correct? What causes these tsunamis? That's earthquake inside the ocean. The plates, the ground, the plates inside the ocean, they come and they click. They flip from each other. And that's an earthquake. That's an earthquake deep inside the ground of the ocean, causing these tsunamis. And then if you have in their neighborhood barrels, of those nuclear waste, guess what? The nuclear waste will come and contaminate the whole area of that ocean. So it's a big problem with storing those nuclear waste. As I said, I mentioned this. We lack safe storage for radioactive waste. That's the major problem. If you compare it with the waterfall energy, wind energy, solar energy, by far all of them, they have maybe side effects, small tiny problems, but it's not really affecting our environment, our well-being. So that's a major problem with storage of radioactive waste. So moving tower is one of our oldest power sources. Moving, that's like a waterfalls. It's clean. Same thing we say the solar energy is clean, wind clean, but the waterfall is the cleanest because you don't have to add anything. It's falling from higher altitude to lower altitude, and you can use this difference in altitude and the rate of this water flows. Then you can run turbines. They can run turbines with enough energy here. By 1925, falling water from waterfalls generated 40% of the world's electric power. Since then, hydroelectric production capacity has grown by 15-fold. But we still use the most what they call it, non clean source of energy from the crude oil. Fossil oil, crude oil, we are still using the crude oil there. So there's risen much faster. But power, the waterfall power source of energy is still there and is still in demand, especially in countries they do have a lot of waterfalls. And between us and Canada, there's a big waterfall, correct? And that's I have a friend in Canada that covers a lot of cities, just generating enough energy to cover Ottawa, the capital city, and the other cities. So you can imagine, and it's really very cheap. The electricity uh, the electricity bills in Canada cheaper than us because they use those type of waterfalls. Energy efficiency and conservation. So it's often said that the cheapest form of energy is conservation. That's really always true. And that's what you can utilize in solar energy. Solar energy it can be kept in the batteries for a long time, and you can use this energy whenever it's needed. So you can take it from the sun during the day, and then you can use it in the night or any other cloudy day. You can use this type of stored energy here. Conservation can save money as well as reducing our energy footprint. That's always true. And that can be seen especially in the solar energy because we have the special batteries that can save this energy. And the same thing with the wind energy here. Sometimes you don't have enough wind to drive those big mills, those electrical ones, but they have the way to store the energy there, batteries as well. That's the same, similar to the solar ones, and they can really conserve and store this energy itself. Cost can depend on how you calculate them. That's always true. Much of the energy we consume is wasted. Our ways of using energy are also insufficient, that most of potential energy in fuel is lost as waste heat. Well, we can improve this. As I said, we can improve this. I had a house in Snellville that has just one layer of windows, and then the contractor told me you have to have double or triple glass windows. And then I asked that contractor, said, why? He said, well, that protect the heat exchange from the house in and out. The house will be minimized, so you can keep your house warm or cool for a longer time. So the heat will not escape to the surrounding outside the house. So you have seen those double windows, double layer glasses windows. Do you saw it? There are double of them. There are triple of them. So you'll see 3 layers of special glass, not the normal silica. That's like here. Those are silica ones. Those are not made to maintain the heat inside, but they are double and triple layer of windows or even glass doors. They can keep the heat inside. The same thing with the behavior of automobile. High efficiency automobile are now available. So we have a hybrid. We have gas and hybrid. It's just to conserve energy, so we don't have to use. And our resources from crude oil will, as I said, over 100 years, 100, 120, 150 years max, the crude oil will be running out of this globe. There will be none to find. And the gas may be higher, maybe take 200, 300, because the gas resources are higher than the crude oil. So it will run high, more years than the crude oil. But the crude oil estimated at least maximum 150 years, and it will disappear. So, and then you will see the efficiencies of a car, of our automobile, the cars. Every year you will see a lot of improvement in the efficiency, so we can conserve the energies, correct? So, passive housing is becoming standard. That's what I talked to you about, double, triple layers of windows or glass doors. So the main thing is to keep maintaining the heat inside. The energy will not be, the heat and the cold air and the hot air will be maintained for hours, not forever, for hours. So those triple layers, not 100% forever. No, they leak some of them, but very minimum. So you can heat your house and keep maintaining the temperature of the house for a long time. And those are the new houses are built, they're called passive housing. Passive means not passive, opposite of active. Active means they can give away heat very easy, and that's what you have an old house. You have an old house. I think all those old houses are built with one layer, non heat exchanger or non heat resistance, so or cold resistance. So whatever you put a heat, most of it wasted through the windows or the glass doors, so it will be leaked out, and you start putting a lot of energy, a lot of large bills of electricity for cooling and heating. Here's just an example of the of whatever I said to you. So you put in your ceiling a lot of solar energy. That will help. Those are passive housing. The windows are triple layered or double layered, triple layered. The door, you make a big window in the door so that it protects you better than the wood itself, correct? And you can see maintaining all those windows in the side, double or triple layered of special windows to protect you. They will not allow the heat to get out. And those are what type of passive, not active. Active means it will let the heat and it will let the energy out. It will not maintain the energy within the houses. Well, it's expensive. You cannot compare it with the normal house. So it's a normal house you have. It's not. Passive houses is still not common, but there are some of them are built like this. And in some areas in the world, the government will pay for you and you get discount. So in Canada, if you put your solar energy, you get 50% reduction of your electrical bill. I know because I have a friend of mine in Canada. We are talking every time. Told him about my bill in electricity, and he compares with his bill is by far is 25% of my bill, electrical bill. So Canada is giving their population the way of improving the energies here and to be clean. So you will see they have a gas, correct, and they have a solar. So they build the whole thing, the solar, and then the government will give you a discount if you are building this, 50% until you sell the house to somebody else. So that will be get 50% reduction in your electrical bill. What does passive housing involve? The main principles are, as I said, there is no exchange of heat. The heat will be maintained within the house. It's not going out. So you have to have a special glass, not a normal silica we have here. You have special wood. You have all this special made that's really will not let the heat to get out. The heat maintained within the house and it will not get out. And roof and walls installation, and they give you how much thick, 10 to 14 inches. That's like a double layer of wood here for the roof. So they're very thick. Well sealed windows and doors. That's the double or triple layers. Heat exchanger to warm and cool fresh air at exchange with the non-moving air leaving the building. Triple pane windows that reduce reactive heat loss or gain. So I said double, triple. At the time I just made double, not triple, but now they have triple layers of windows and doors, glass doors. Cogeneration makes electricity from waste heat. This is like a quiz definition. Co means with. You are generating with. Co means every time I have a cooperation. Operation is by itself a word, and co means all the time with something else. So the cogeneration makes electricity from waste heat. So one of the fastest growing source of new energy is cogeneration. What's the definition of cogeneration? A stimulus production of both electricity and steam or hot tub or in the same plant. This is very good way to reduce cost. Now you are producing electricity, whatever type of producing in your plant. Suppose you are using nuclear plant, okay? In the nuclear plant, correct? In the nuclear plant, you are producing energy. Now you are using coolant. You are using what? Cold H2O. Tap water will come in. The tap water will come out as what? As steam. The steam can be used for what? For heating houses. For heating houses, we can use the steam, which is very clean, environmentally sound. There's no side effect or any other chemicals involved. You have just steam. So in nuclear plants, we are producing both energy, nuclear energy, as well as hot steam. And this hot steam can be used to generate, to warm up our buildings, our restaurants, our whatever. This is the same thing like natural gas, methane. And the steam is cheaper because you don't pay for it. You don't pay extra money for it. Natural gas, you have to pay to dig it out of the deposits in the ground. Same like crude oil. You have to pay for the crude oil to dig it out from the ground up through fractioning or through fraction of those deposits. But the steam is cheaper, almost much cheaper than natural gas. And you get it in the same way you are cooling. While you are cooling the reactor from the nuclear reaction, then it's this cold tower will be lighted, and you are heating it. You are cooling the nuclear reaction, by which then the tower, cooled tower, will turn what? Very hot, very hot. So you take this hot steam and use it as another source of energy to warm up houses, warm up stores, warm up a lot of stuff. So, and that's happened in many that's typical nuclear plants. So the nuclear plants having two types of energy: the steam one from cooling the nuclear reaction, and the nuclear energy coming out of this nuclear reaction. So two types and they can really sell it to the consumer. They can sell electricity, and they can sell steam, which can be used to warm up. It's much cheaper than natural gas. Renewable energies. Well, renewable energies is really very important. Means we are reusing this energy as like renewable means we are recycling those energies here, and this is very important to recycle those energy. Some of those renewable energy, if you can think about solar, wind, those are all recycled energies, because whatever you are getting, you store and then you put it back into the system. Then the sun will come and then get you those solar energy, or the wind will come and get wind energy and then store it and then reuse it. So renewable energy is you can reuse it many times. So wind could meet all our energy needs, and that's as I said, the good thing about wind energy, you don't have this nuclear waste problem, correct? The solar energy is good, but the solar energy, it has a big batteries to store compared with the wind. The wind it's like waterfall. The cleanest, very clean one is the waterfall. There's nothing there involved. Then the solar, then the wind energy, then the solar energy, then the worst is the chemical energy coming from chemical reaction and nuclear reaction. So we have two. We have nuclear plants. We have chemical reaction plants that produce energy by combustion, correct? And those are Those are like coal burning. That's a chemical reaction, combustion. Coal burning, the source of energy you get, but involved a lot of waste coming into the air as a lot of pollution with it. So here they tell you that the wind, 370 gigawatts of globally installed capacity in 2014. Wind power is energy associated predict 1.5 million megawatt capacity could be possible by 2020. And really, I would say, which you think one country in the world really had used the wind energy very efficient. You will not believe it. A small country in Europe, small country, but their location, their natural location is through ocean, and then through a lot of wind. So Norway, almost 90% of their energy here, they have crude oil too, they have gas, but most of their energy is covered. Norway is the country, one of the country in the world is most their country is coming from the wind. Believe it or not, their position in the ocean there is very unique, and they are coming close to the North Pole too. So, and their location is not here in the PowerPoint. I wish he mentioned that for Norway. Norway is about 80 to 90% of their energy is coming from the wind. They have a lot of windmills all over in the sea. They are really not. They have in the land, but mostly the wind is coming from the sea drift throughout the ocean. The North Pole waters and all those is heavy wind, and they are using it, and they are sufficient. They can even save and sell this stored energy to other countries, correct? So they can, and I think they are doing this as well. So they're profiting out of it too. A small country, but their location is so good in the middle of the wind drift, and they are using this location to produce a lot of wind, energy from the wind. Wind power provides local control of energy, and that's really true. That's an example of Norway. Norway is in control of their energy, and almost 80 or 90. I saw it this long time ago, but now maybe 90% of their energies can be covered by the wind. Although they have oil, they have gas as well. 1 gigawatt of wind power equivalent to one large nuclear or fossil fuel plant. 1 gigawatt is equal to large nuclear or fossil fuel plant. Now, those two type of plants, the crude oil fuel plants and the nuclear, they have the problems we said. Waste, correct? The nuclear plant has nuclear waste, and the fuel plant has a lot of deposits, a lot of stuff will be vented to the air, and it has a lot of heavy metals such as mercury, lead, and you have a lot of soot coming out of this crude oil. So that's those two types of plants are really accompany a lot of waste, which is really harmful for our environment and for our health. Can create more than 3,000 permanent jobs, and tell you this, that the wind power has advantage. Which will have the local economy will increase, and the country economy will increase, and you get a lot of other stuff here, and will give the governments, local governments, extra money for because they have to put taxes on this selling this type of energy here, and it's clean. Even the batteries used underneath the mill to store these energies here is not that complex or like the solar. The solar one is very highly complex because it has to do with what? Chemical reaction. Solar energy is combined with chemical reaction, the flow of electrons. But wind, no. The whole windmill is driven by wind. We don't have to interfere chemically or nuclearly or anything. Just it goes by itself through the wind drift. Here, just give you an example here. Native American tribes, they use this one to their advantage because those are reservations. They are in the wind drift, and they create a lot of energies too, and they can sell it locally. They can sell it to the local government. So I went to one of those. Yeah, it's very windy. I went to when I was in Colorado for a long time. I did not know that's a reservation. I found myself in this reservation. There is no sign tell you this is. Then when I went there, I realized it's very windy at that time. 30-something years. There was no GPS, no internet, no nothing. So I drove inside the area I'm not familiar with. Then I end up with native Indians there, and there's a lot of windy areas. So those windy areas, they are using it to produce electricity. I think they use some companies as subcontractors, and they sell it. And both are good for the local economy. Their local economy. These are huge areas, by the way. The reservations, if you have visited one, you drive for hours to get in, for hours to get out. Huge reservations in Colorado. I don't know the area, the other areas, but I got lost in one of those. Took me hours to get out. So the area is so huge, and it has a lot of rivers, a lot of mountains, a lot of stuff. So they can use the wind mills to produce energies here. Photovoltaic cell generate electricity. That's solar energy, and that's what we talked about. What? A chemical reaction. When the sun exposed is coming on those here, let me see. You have the solar panels. When the sun coming in, those panels made of silica or any other compound, any other metal. So the way you kick out of this is electron. Electron flow is current. So this type of this is chemical. You are talking about chemical energies here generated. It's a solar energy, but then the sun is helping kicking out of the surface of those metal on the solar panel to kick out electrons. When they are kicked out, they flow, and you have to guide them through to generate the current. Now the current here will come here out. You have to guide it into what? Store it in a special battery. So you'll see this solar energy has compared with the wind. With the wind, you don't have to worry about any chemical reaction or any surface electron flow. And as I said, if you have cloudy day, forget about kicking those electrons out, generating any current. So then you have whatever you have stored, you have to use the batteries, okay, to use the solar energy. So, but anyway, so by far, wind is the waterfall is the most clean source of energy, followed by the wind, followed by the solar, which is / chemical, and then all worse, the two of them, the crude, the chemical, crude oil energies, and the worst and ever worse is the nuclear one. So the nuclear reaction energies. So those are the types there. Okay, guys. So as I said, you don't have to know the chemical reaction about this kicking out of the metal of the solar panel. You don't have to worry about it. The main thing is you get the idea You are kicking up electrons. The electrons will flow. Then you have to guide those. The electron flow means current. You have to guide this electron flow and use it to go to the batteries. Correct? So you get out of this electron flow, which is a current, guided into special made batteries to store them there. And by the way, if you don't, the solar energy is depending on the size of the panel, correct? The battery size will depend on how much you are producing of those electrons. So some solar energy batteries are large because you have large panels there. You are producing large number of electrons. So the batteries will depend on the battery size will depend on the size of the panel themselves. The larger panel you use, the larger the battery has to be, because you have a lot of, otherwise you lose a lot of electrons, and there will be the electron flow will be limited. Biomass includes fuel wood, ethanol, and other forms. We talked about Brazil. Brazil is the leading country in producing ethanol through the corn. So, I mean, we have this system in the United States, but Brazil is using large amount of land to produce ethanol from corn. And that's what means burning biomass means the plant material. So biomass means plant material. You are using the plants to produce source of energy. In this sense, is ethanol. Okay, and it's really this is very clean, because when you burn ethanol, you don't have this crude oil or coal burning. Coal burning and crude oil burning has a lot of waste and a lot of chemicals coming out, which is very, very, very risky for our environment and our health. Correct? So the ethanol can be used for many purposes. You can see ethanol can be used in Brazil, for example, because they're using it to what they have. They have reverse engineered their machines in the car, the engines. So instead of using gasoline, they use what? Ethanol. Gasoline octane number is higher, much, much higher than ethanol. So they have to reverse engineer those engines of the cars, so it will accept the ethanol. So if you bring this one here, one of those cars here, it will never run, because we are using gasoline higher octane. The engine will not be able to work. So it has to have ethanol, which is lower octane number. So lower octane number. So question to you here is ethanol. Can I drive a tractor with a big machinery, 18-wheeler truck with ethanol? The answer is no. For big machines, you have to have a higher octane number. So in order to do this, you have to use diesel most of the time, correct? So that's the difference between running heavy machines on ethanol. Ethanol has lower octane number, will not be able to push those 18-wheeler trucks with all the load, tons of food or tons of goods inside them. So you need something that has higher octane number, which is diesel in this case. So, but this another type of source of energy, cleaner one, because you are producing a lot of ethanol, can run a lot of cars and small machineries, not heavy one, not tractors, not 18-wheelers, not heavy machines. Ethanol cannot do that. You have to have higher. Even gasoline will not do it. You have to what? You have to have what? You have to have diesel to work on those heavy machines, because they have higher octane number. Wood gathering and charcoal burning are important causes of deforestation in many rural areas. Not only this, but a lot of air pollution. The major deforestation, damaging the forests, coming from this crude oil burning, coal burning, wood burning, and you have then you have the this is the major one. If we are burning ethanol, that will be seamless. You get CO2 and H2O clean. It's no soot, no other stuff, which is very good, which is very healthy for the environment. But again, you cannot run everything on ethanol. You cannot do that. Ethanol has been the main focus. Biofuels, that's biofuels means fuels made bio engineering or biochemistry or whatever you call it. This is you have a corn. You take the corn and then you extract the ethanol from the corn itself, and this is what we call biofuels. And ethanol and biodiesels are by far the biggest recent news in the biomass energy. Globally, production of these two fuels is booming from Brazil. That's what I said. Brazil is the major one. I think their cars, they're running most of their cars. I'm not sure. Not the heavy machinery, not the heavy cars or whatever, trucks or no, but just the normal cars are run with the ethanol. And here, even in the US, you will see some of the gasoline. You'll see what added what, not the tetra lead for the lead, this one here too, you know, but it added gasoline. They add what to it? Ethanol a little bit. But if you add too much of ethanol, you can't expect your car will run that smoothly, because the octane number will be affected, and you have lower octane numbers. So you cannot take your car and put a lot of heavy load. The car will just stop. It's not enough energy generated to pull out those pistons up and down. You need something heavier. So they put just a little bit. So to conserve amount of gasoline, they add a little bit of ethanol inside, but not that much, because if you add too much of it, you kill the octane number. Octane number is just a sort of an index of the combustion reaction and the energy coming out of this combustion reaction. The higher the octane number, your combustion index is higher, and you produce a lot of energy, enough to generate heavy machineries. So the lower octane number, there's lower energies, and you are not producing that much of energy. It's not enough to drive or to run heavy machineries. Again, you can get from the corn this ethanol, or you can get oils can come from other crops like soybeans, sunflower seed, grape seeds, palm seeds, and all the stuff here can be used for ethanol, and they can be converted as a biodiesel and need only minimum cleaning for use in standard diesel engines. So cellulosic ethanol could be an alternative. So cellulose is at, somebody will tell me what cellulose is? Your paper you are writing is made of cellulose. What is cellulose? Cellulose, any idea? Cellulose is a combination of 300 or more glucose. So you have a chain of glucose together, compressed together, combined. So you have a chain of glucose, and those called cellulose. They intersect with each other, layers of cellulose, of glucose. Those are glucose. So if we can use this, even much better than ethanol, the octane number will be higher, and they're found in abundance in the wood. So you have to extract the cellulose from the wood, and that's most of our paper we are using are cellulose made. So producing 36 billion gallons of ethanol from corn would use the entire U.S. corn crop and good portion of our water resources. I can tell you, it's not really feasible to have all your land is made of corn, and then use this ethanol coming out to run your your machineries. So if you do this 35 billion gallon of ethanol, if you want to produce, that will cover all the land you have available for agriculture. So there has been great interest in developing ethanol from crop waste and other non-food biomass. That's from the cellulose, from the glucose. If you can extract the glucose out, and then you can transfer the chemical reaction, you can transfer the glucose into what? Into ethanol. A number of techniques has been proposed for extracting sugars, the cellulose, from the wood cellulosic material that's in the plant, in the wood cellulose. Most involve mechanical chopping or shredding, followed by treatment chemically with bacteria or fungi, or chemically. You can do this one chemically, or you use some bacterial work on this type of cellulose to break the sugar, the hundreds, 300 and more sugar chains interconnected with each other to produce out of them ethanol. So you can conserve your land. You don't want to take large portion of the land to make corn, to make ethanol. We can do the other way. We can get the extract from the plant, from the waste of the plant, cellulose. The cellulose that can be worked on chemically or by bacteria to produce glucose. Glucose can be then transferred into ethanol. The methane from biomass is efficient and clean. What we said about natural gas is mostly methane. Bless you. Natural gas is mostly what? Methane. So you can get even from methane can be produced by biomass, and it's very efficient and clean. So you can get out of ethanol here. You can convert this one chemically into methane as well, or you can just get natural gas from this ethanol by let some fungi or bacteria working on it. So methane gas is the main component of natural gas. Now, as I said, the whole natural gas is mostly methane, say 90% or 85%. The rest of the gases are the other ones you buy from stores, from gas stations. Propane. You see propane? Propane is the second to methane. And then you have butane, you have pentane, you have hexane. Up to hexane, those are still gases. Then after that, there will be liquid. So those mixture of gases is contributing to something called natural gas. However, the methane inside, that's the what? The methane is the major one. That's about 80% of natural gas is methane. So we neglect the propane, butane, all the other mixture, the light gases here, because the major one is really in this natural gas is methane. So methane is used now in this building. I don't think so they use steam. They use natural gas. And on all building they use natural gas. So in our building the same thing, because the same thing you can use natural gas for heating and for cooking, correct? Mm-hmm. For heating and cooking. That's the reason is preferred than the steam. The steam you cannot use it for cooking. It's not burning, correct? H2O, you can heat it, it will go just steam, but it's not burning. But the methane, you can burn it to get combustion, you get the heat, and you can use it as in cooking, correct? Methane is very clean, produce CO2 and H2O only, and energy here. So just to show you here, methane here, let me just write it here, this paragraph here. Methane here, when it's combusted with CH4 with oxygen, you produce CO2 plus H2O plus clean energy here. Can you see it? Can you see any heavy metals like lead or mercury? No. Can you see any other chemicals except CO2 and H2O? That's the only two chemicals are produced very clean, and those are gases. So those are gases, and we use this clean energy here for cooking and heating. The only source of problem with methane, although it's clean, you have this global warming of CO2. But that's with all other coal burning, fuel, crude oil burning, all type of burning of chemicals. So you reduce all this CO2 coming out of this reaction, and therefore the global warming CO2 is there with us. So we have to live with it. So, but this is a very nice clean, and the only thing is clean, and it's not really affecting any the pipeline, so they will not be corroded or anything else. Gasoline, you have to have a very special plastic. If you have a gasoline or any other type of crude oil, you have to have special piping or pipelines with the special manufacturing features to protect this what they call it, the reaction of the gasoline or the crude oil with those bulbs. So they put some special bulbs, so there will be no corrosion, no chemical reactions, nothing. So natural gas is very good, and its color is colorless and odorless. So in order I have to have a leak, I use the mercaptan inside. The mercaptan is smelling like a 14 gas, and this is like skunk. Skunk is making a lot of those gases, and just to smell it, because if I have a leak of methane at home, I'll never be able to smell it. How I can smell it? I put some 14 gas inside, like the skunk defending itself. You know the animal skunk? The animal skunk defending itself by shooting a lot of mercaptan, very bad smelling gas, and whatever animals what will come and attack it, it can't stand the smell. Very, very bad. Very bad. And it produces, by the way, those toxic gases in his own body. The liver is producing this. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's producing all those toxic mercaptans in its body. So, as I said, the greenhouse gases, we have to live with it. So CO2 come out. Steam has no, the H2O vapor or steam has nothing to do with the whole thing. So let's look at the next. Could algae be a hope for the future? Yes. This is still recent studies. They use special algaes to help reduce some of those fuels. So if you can have some source of compound and bootlet instead of fungi or bacteria, you put algae instead, and they will give you a high quality of oil, high quality of maybe ethanol, depending what type of algae you use. As I said, this is research-oriented areas, and there you can really produce a lot of ethanol, biofuels, and biodiesels using those type of algae or special fungi or bacteria. As I said, this is an open area, so it's still under investigation, and a lot of research needed for this. Okay, guys? So, geothermal heat could provide electricity and heat. Well, geothermal heat means you have glaciers that really produce by itself without any interference of us, produce a lot of natural gas, methane, correct, will come out. There are some areas we can find this. Where we can find here in our country, where we can find this area, the geothermal, yes. Yellowstone, yeah. In Wyoming, correct? In Wyoming, that's the area we can find free of charge. So free of charge. But until now, this is still a federal protected area. But in the future, if we are lacking any type of source of energies, we can still dig into that area and get those natural methane out. But until now, it's federal protected, so no need for it. But that's anytime you have areas that's near volcanoes, you can see those volcanoes always accompanied with the areas where natural gas coming from the ground. Now they found recently in some areas in the ocean, this natural gas comes from the ocean, and there's a lot of discussion about this. But yes, natural gas come from the ocean. Yes, that's very recent. At the last maybe 10 years or something, that's natural gas coming, and they call it geothermal energies. So, and those they come in as hot springs, geysers, fumaroles. So Iceland, for example, which sits on a mid-ocean ridge, has abundant geothermal energy. Iceland is not far away from Greenland, correct? Am I correct? Or Iceland, the other one? Where's Iceland? Iceland, where's Iceland located? Do you have Greenland? There's another, or there is an Iceland near Philippines. I think near Philippines, near Australia. I think near Australia. Australia has the same thing. I think they do have some geothermal sources of energy there. So, but any area that's had volcanoes most probably will develop a type of geothermal energy. And this is the way this earth is venting. We call those geothermal energy, earth or the ground is venting. You have a lot of pressure coming out. It has to vent somewhere, and it has to go out as natural gas, correct? So Iceland has ambitious plans to be the first carbon natural country, larger because the earth heat provides steams for heat and electric energy. So besides natural gas, they got hot steam, correct? So that's venting, type of venting. The earth is venting, and those areas, I think, very close near not earthquakes. No, that's different. Earthquakes is just movement of the plates of the earth. But volcanoes is you have a lot of pressure of molten elements, metals, and when they melt, they generate a lot of pressure. This pressure has to be released with a lot of gases inside, and those gases inside are natural gas and steam, correct? What does an energy transition look like? Well, rather than store and transport energy, another alternative to generate it locally on demand in a fuel cells. So fuel cells are devices that use ongoing electrochemical reaction to produce an electrical current. Where we can find those guys? In our what? No, hybrid electrical car. Now, the electrical car are using the fuel cells are used in the electrical. It's a chemical reaction. You have it's a very simple. You have H2O. You split H2O to oxygen to its original one and hydrogen. Correct? You split it, and then when you come back, when you combine, you put some energy, some sort of a small tiny energy. When you bring it back, then you get a lot of energy here coming out. Correct? So when you combine oxygen with hydrogen from the split, combine them back, and you have to use a catalyst for that to speed up the reaction. So when you're combining them, oxygen and hydrogen, some of the energy will come out, and that's what we use it to run this electrical energy. It's really a very decent, clean energy. There's no side reactions. There's no other pollutants coming out. But what is the disadvantage of electrical cars? Somebody will tell me about those fuel cells. So you are producing hydrogen, and hydrogen is highly explosive. So you are sitting on these batteries. You hope you have not accidents on them, so they are protected in a way that protecting us. So if you have a direct leakage, and you are hit direct on these cells, you'll be flying a couple miles in the air because you are sitting on a bomb, hydrogen bomb, real hydrogen bomb. So that's the disadvantage of hydrogen. But I think they get around it. The small amount of hydrogen will not have that much, even if it leaks, will not have that much of, unless you have a very big mishap there, then yes, it's very dangerous. So they are smaller batteries, except that they are recharged by adding a fuel or source of hydrogen atoms. Did I say hydrogen? Yes, they're coming from tap water. You split the tap water in oxygen and hydrogen by introducing a small tiny energy, a battery, whatever. And then when you combine hydrogen and oxygen, then you release a lot of energy, enough to run an engine, correct? Combination of oxygen and hydrogen will produce a lot of energy, and this is, they call it fuel cell. That's what the electrical cars are using. So, and it says, depending on the environmental cost of input of fuels, fuel cells can be a clean energy source for office buildings, hospitals, or even homes. Correct? I will not really use them at homes, because if I have a leak and I did not really, hydrogen, you cannot smell it. If I have a leak and I have a gas stove, me and my house will be flown a couple miles in the air. So that's because, but at hospitals and buildings, they have more restrictive conditions to keep it in check. If there's a leak, you will see it will beep, it will shut down itself. So, but you have a cell like this at home, it's too dangerous. I think that's my thinking. So, but it's clean. There's nothing coming out. It's just tap water split, recombined, and then you get the energy. There's nothing really, any mishap or any other waste chemicals will be produced there. Utilities can promote renewables. Utility restructuring currently being planned in our country could include policies to encourage conservation and alternative energy sources. Among those proposals, and those the policies here, that will be, I think, in chapters, the last chapter will go through this. Those are the policies here, 1, 2, and 3. There's more of those policies will come in the last chapter, and the distributional surcharges, in which small per kilowatt hour charge is leveled, or is levied on all utility consumers to help finance renewable energy research and development. Well, you will see your bill will come up. So depending on if you see this proposal will have more on ourselves. So you'll pay more because they use the money coming out of this higher bill rate to support research and development. Renewable portfolio standards to require power suppliers to obtain a minimum percentage of their energy from sustainable sources. Well, if you force those people who are producing this energy coming from sustainable sources, and green pricing that allow utilities to profit from conservation programs and charge premium prices for energy from renewable sources. So all about talking about getting energy from sustainable and green sources, and with the decent amount of rate. That amount of rate, some part of it will go for further development and research. So those are the green. They can use crop, get ethanol out of it. They can get natural gas and all other clean source. So the last topic here, and we do have 1 minute, and that's what we can take out of this one here. Takeaway: energy choices will determine if the world meets climate protection goals. Fossil fuels still dominate energy production, which is really, it's not good because it has a lot of other waste and pollution combined with. A transition to climate-safe energy system requires a combination of many, not one technology, but many technologies. Okay, guys, I'll stop here.